Welcome back to the show, folks. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. I am your host, Niall, and we are back with another DriveTime football update. Plenty to talk about today. We're going to be talking about Pogba and that drug test. We're going to be talking about Everton potentially in the midst of a takeover. We're going to be talking about United, who's been dominating the headlines for various reasons over the last week or so. Lots going on there at the moment to speak about. We're going to be talking about the FAI, Stephen Kenny and all that. We're going to be talking about Portugal smashing Luxembourg 9-0. Lots to talk about, plenty to get into. The German manager's job, lots and lots going on at the moment. So we'll start with Everton. Everton look like they're going to be taken over by Miami-based 777 partners, who also have an interest in Sevilla, Hertha Berlin and Standard Liège. And we spoke about this on a number of shows over the summer, where teams, in order to circumvent FFP and to remain competitive and be able to bring in the level of talent that they want to, that potentially exceeds FFP and stuff like that, that they're going to have to create these links and these networks of teams that they're associated with or have a controlling interest in. So what that does then is it allows teams to move players around the different teams. Like, you can spend a lot of money in one team and bring in top players and then loan them out to other teams and all that kind of stuff. So create that network. But we'll have to see. Let's see what happens with the fit and proper test. Obviously, with this crowd having links to other teams in Europe, what does that mean and how is that going to bear out? So we shall see what happens. But interesting times ahead for Everton. They certainly need something to happen big time, or they're going to be in serious trouble. On the pitch, they're absolutely woeful, and off the pitch, lots of financial trouble and stuff like that, and in the midst of a beautiful stadium build as well. So not great times at the moment for Everton, but hopefully if this takeover happens, they should have hopefully plenty to look forward to, and hopefully Deutsch will get some money to invest in the squad as well. The squad is just so poor at the moment, just not anywhere near the races in terms of competing in the Premier League. But again, Everton fans, let us know your thoughts on that. Don't want to go into harsh on them. You know I'm a Liverpool fan, stuff like that. But it is tough times there at the moment, so let's see what happens. Let's talk about United, and we'll talk, first of all, probably some good news, I suppose, but is it an indication of something? Let me know your thoughts on this. They're potentially have a new shirt sponsor kicking in, I think, from January. I think the plan is to buy out the deal they originally had with TeamViewer and move on. I think that's going to cost them somewhere in the region of 40 million from what I read. And this new crowd, Qualcomm, they were a telecommunications, I presume, a network provider in the States. A big company are coming in looking to do a deal for about 60 million a year for the short deal. Obviously in the first year they might only back 20 because they have to offset the 40 maybe that they have to pay to TeamViewer to get out of the contract. But what does this mean for United in terms of bringing on an American telecommunications company, a network company maybe? Does this mean Qatar is not happening now? You would imagine that if Qatar was happening, they would want a lot of control over that shirt sponsor there. I presume it's going to be a multi-year deal. Normally it's 3 to 5 years and stuff like that. So probably by taking on this shirt sponsor means that probably that Qatar deal could be potentially dead in the water. Let us know your thoughts on this, United fans. Let's talk about Jadon Sancho, of course. This is an ongoing thing. Jadon Sancho, Anthony and all that kind of stuff. We know United have been linked with El Ghazi. The guy is a free agent at the moment, 28 years of age. Has had a little bit of success in the Prem. Also did okay in Holland and stuff like that. But they're looking to bring him in, but it's a weird predicament United find themselves in. If you had told me 4 or 5 weeks ago that United would be looking for a right winger, I would have been shocked. Sancho there, Anthony there, Pellistri there, Ahmad probably due to come back in a month or two or whatever it is. I would have thought that was madness. You've got oceans of talent there at the moment. Whether they're performing or not is another thing. That's another question that has to be answered. But certainly in terms of bodies, you're recovering that position. Roll forward 4 or 5 weeks into the season already. Lost 2 games. Haven't been playing great even in the games that they won. Struggling against Wolves. Somewhat struggling against Nottingham Forest as well, creating chances but not taking them, and obviously Forest never out of the game. But let us know your thoughts on this. Obviously Sancho apparently met with Ten Hag. Apparently they've had a meeting and had talks, but yet the statement is still pinned to the top of his social media, which means nothing has been resolved. So this looks like Jadon Sancho's taking himself out of the running to be picked, or will Ten Hag pick him? Is he using this as reverse motivation to get the boy playing well? And if it is, it's being played out really badly in public and stuff like that. The thinking is, the talk at the moment is that Jadon Sancho could be on his way back to Borussia Dortmund, initially on a loan, and then on a, obviously there'll obviously be a buy in that as well, a buy option as well. With Anthony, he's gone through his struggles at the moment, a lot of accusations out there and stuff like that. This one is a weird one for me, because if this is an ongoing investigation both with the Brazilian police and also with the UK police, this has been really played out in the court of public opinion at the moment. Lots of information being given out there, you know, transcripts of WhatsApp conversations and all sorts of stuff. You know, Anthony doing an interview, these women doing an interview and stuff like that. All seems very, very, very ropey to me, that this is how you would play something like this out. And especially if there's an ongoing investigation and stuff like that, most of this stuff tends to be kept private. But I suppose the boy wants to clear his name and stuff like that, and of course our thoughts, you know, would be potentially with the victims as well if it plays out that that's the case. But it's all looking a little bit iffy at the moment. Obviously United have, I won't say suspended him, but we know he's not due back. They've given him time off to sort this stuff out, which is the equivalent of a suspension. It depends who agrees, or whether it's him or United, but it's the same thing really, you know. But they really need him back. They're under serious pressure there at the moment. The boy Palestri can come in and do a good job. He's a really talented footballer, there's no doubt. Whether he'll get to that level, whether you think Anthony was performing or not, obviously he had a lot of this crap on his mind as well while trying to perform. Being taken out of the Brazilian team probably didn't look great. That's what triggered a lot of this, and then United obviously saw advice on this as well and sought to, you know, make the same move and stuff like that. But this has really been a baptism of fire for Erik Ten Hag. Second season in, after performing so well last year, third place in the league, winning the Carabao Cup. He was hoping probably to get in more kind of the players he was looking for and push forward this year, you know what I mean. But somewhat looks like United have gone backwards. Signings, you know, these last minute deals and loans, the likes of Reguilon coming in, being linked with El Ghazi and all that, that's not United at all. It's not what he was promised, it's not what we expected. Even as neutral fans and stuff like that, you would have expected United to be, you know, in the market for serious targets for Erik Ten Hag after what he achieved last season, but obviously not. So let us know your thoughts on that. Just a lot going on with United at the moment, and a lot of it isn't, like, as they're saying, you know, other United content creators on here, they're coming out and they're saying, look, it's a circus at the moment, it's a disaster, being linked with El Ghazi and stuff like that and all. But it's just an absolute mess for Erik Ten Hag at the moment, and that coupled with so many injuries and stuff like that, and then big games coming up, Brighton at the weekend, Bayern Munich next week and stuff like that. These games are going to come thick and fast, and you have to be so prepared for them. And all this other stuff going on, the takeover in the background, all the distraction that's going on at the moment. How Ten Hag and his team are supposed to focus on what they should be focusing on, which is the game on the pitch and stuff like that, is beyond me. But United fans, let us know your thoughts on this. Paul Pogba, we have to talk about. Ex-United, #Pogback, has failed a drug test apparently for testosterone. And he has, I think, till tomorrow, till Wednesday, to provide a second sample and explain it and all that kind of stuff. Could be staring down the barrel of a 4-year ban. This has been a real bad time for Paul Pogba. You know, all that other stuff going on with the brothers, all the criminal stuff off the pitch and all, and then of course picking up injuries and stuff like that, and you know, really, it's just been looking a shadow of the Paul Pogba that everyone knows for a long, long time now at this stage. This could potentially be a very sad end to what should have been such an unbelievable career, but doesn't look good at all. And him testing positive for testosterone is an interesting one, to say the least. But we'll keep an eye on it and stuff like that. Certainly high profile and stuff like that. Juve just in the mud all the time. Every time they think they can catch a break, something comes up to bite them. But let us know your thoughts on Paul Pogba. Hansi Flick getting the boot for Germany there the other day after losing, I think, 4-1 to Japan. Dare I say, Endo. Awesome, dare I say, for Japan. Pulling the strings as only he can. But Hansi Flick getting the sack All the talk over the weekend was, oh, would they prize Jurgen Klopp out of Liverpool and stuff like that. Apparently it's been confirmed that that's not going to be the case. Jurgen ain't going anywhere at the moment. It's come just a little bit too soon. But in the running at the moment, they're talking about Julian Nagelsmann, and also they're talking about Louis van Gaal. I don't know what the story is with Louis van Gaal at the moment. I know that he has been ill and he's in recovery and stuff like that, and he was kind of semi-involved in the Dutch situation, stuff like that. I don't know where, from a health point of view, where he stands at the moment, and whether the move to the German national team would suit him. Let's see what happens there. But other people will be in the running for that job as well. That's a huge job, the German national team. Let's see, what else have we got on this? Gareth Southgate. We have to talk about Gareth Southgate. Obviously, big game coming up tonight. Not much on the line except pride, of course, from Scotland versus England and stuff like that. Nothing really on the line here. Just pride against the old enemy and all that kind of stuff. Scotland at the moment playing absolutely brilliant football. Euro qualifiers, 15 points out of 15 on an absolute tear at the moment under Steve Clarke. We know how good Steve Clarke is from his previous Chelsea days and stuff like that now. As a coach, doing really, really well with Scotland, but has a nice pool of players there as well. When you look at that Scottish side, some really nice footballers in there, and footballers that will walk through a wall for you, 100% heart and desire. If you look at England at the moment, again, an unbelievable, fabulous squad of players that Southgate has on his hands there, but just seems to mess it up for himself, really, you know what I mean? You look at that Ukrainian game, not overly convincing. In patches and stuff like that, really didn't do what they should be doing. And this is Kane who's coming in there. He's on fire in the Bundesliga after his move to Bayern Munich and stuff like that. But coming out and questioning Foden at the moment, saying the talk of Foden in central midfield, and he was talking, no, why would I do that, because he doesn't play like that for his club and stuff like that. This is the same guy who's picking players at the moment who don't even get to play for their clubs. They're alone in the position. He's picking Harry Maguire, who's nearly one of his first choice centre-backs, who literally doesn't kick a ball. And then you've got Calvin Phillips in there as well, who literally doesn't kick a ball. And he's picking these guys, and then he kind of chooses his battles real weird, Southgate, doesn't he? Like, to have a go at Foden because he hasn't played a central midfield role. Phil Foden is an exceptional footballer, very, very talented footballer and stuff like that. I'm sure he could adjust to figure out things and stuff like that, and if you really wanted him to do it. But it's a weird one from Southgate as well, to just, you know, questioning the credentials of Phil Foden as a central midfielder. You know, it's just, I don't know. Southgate is just bewildering at times in the stuff that he comes out with. Just never seems to add up, make sense. And he kind of picks and chooses the way he wants to talk about stuff. You know, you won't see him coming out on about Harry Maguire never playing for his club, or Calvin Phillips barely getting any minutes, stuff like that. No, but he talk about whether Phil Foden could adjust as a central midfielder. Just doesn't add up. Just doesn't add up. Neymar surpasses Pele as the highest scorer for Brazilian football. 79 goals, bagging 2 the other night against Bolivia, and surpassing the great man Pele, who we lost a year or two ago, whatever it was, and stuff like that. What a player Pele was and stuff like that. But Neymar now is the top goal scorer for Brazil. Unbelievable. What a player Neymar is. Absolutely exceptional. Now, we know there's a little bit of shithousery in there at times as well, and a little bit of acting and all that kind of stuff and all, but when it comes to putting the ball in the back of the net, he's absolutely tops at it. So yeah, interesting, that one as well. Portugal, let's talk about Portugal hitting Luxembourg for 9 last night. Bruno Fernandes, I've been a big, you know, guy online who questions Bruno Fernandes and what people think about him, and you know how good he is and stuff like that and all, but he was absolutely exceptional last night. I think he picked up 3 assists as well. Diogo Jota picking up 2 goals as well, looked absolutely spectacular last night as well. Massive win for Portugal against Luxembourg, 9-0. Now it is, you know, levels and stuff like that, but we've seen what Luxembourg was able to do to our own team, Ireland. But that's a massive win. To win 9-0 in an international game, regardless of who's playing, is a massive achievement. And the other thing as well, Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't involved, so there was no Cristiano Ronaldo as well, which made it even look even better and stuff like that. So it doesn't look like Portugal would be suffering too much if Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't around. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on that. Spoke to you about Scotland boss. He's also talking about Steve Clark was being interviewed as well, and he was talking about that situation with Harvey Barnes considering moving to Scotland from England in terms of his international loyalty, if you like. And Steve Clark said, yeah, there's no problem if he wants to get in touch with me, get him to get in touch with me, basically, you know. So he wasn't putting it out there that Scotland would be chasing Harvey Barnes, that if Harvey Barnes wanted to come in, he needed to show that he wanted to come in. And that's a real important thing. We spoke about it the other day as well. You know, if you're only switching allegiance because you want to get game time and stuff like that, how much of your heart is in it? And look, with Scotland flying high at the moment under Steve Clark at the moment as well, why wouldn't you want to go play for Scotland? You're not going to get a sniff of the English team. Look at Southgate and the way Southgate operates and how he brings players in. Harvey Barnes is not getting a lick of that English squad. Not a lick. So why wouldn't you declare for Scotland? You know what I mean? And it's great. I mean, it must be, to be in the Scotland camp at the moment must be absolutely fantastic and so positive as well, with the way they're playing really, really good football, have some really good footballers, and Stevie at the helm is where they're, Clark as well, doing a great job coaching boys and stuff like that. So yeah, but I like the point that Steve Clark made. Yeah, if Harvey wants to get in touch with us, he can get in touch with us. He wasn't going to chase Harvey Barnes down. I like that from Steve Clark. That's what I want to hear. If you want to play for Scotland, you're going to have a conversation with me and let me know how much you want to play for Scotland. So I think that's a great way for Steve Clark to answer it and approach it, and it was really, really good, you know. Let's finish up and talk about the FAI. Talk coming out after the defeat against the Netherlands the other night. I thought the team, I spoke to Mark last night about it on the Monday mashup. If you want to catch the show, it's up there. We spoke at length about Stephen Kenny and stuff like that. It looked like on the face of it that they were going to let Stephen Kenny finish out the campaign, but talk has been coming out today that the FAI are imminently going to make contact with Lee Carsley, who's looking after the England under-21s at the moment. I'm not too sure whether Lee Carsley would make that jump. I suppose it depends on what they offer him and what the job, what the contract looks like, for him to have a conversation about it. But he has a great number there at the England under-21s at the moment. He's doing a fantastic job as well. Absolutely brilliant stuff from Lee Carsley. Yeah, I'd love to have him as the Ireland manager coming in at a good time as well, where it's a big opportunity now to pass off a few more guys, refresh the squad, and really get this group of young Irish players humming and playing, and going in the right direction. And Carsley coming in on the back of that under-21 championships and stuff like that could be absolutely fantastic for Ireland. I just don't think he'll leave the post he's in at the moment. I think it's a great number he has there, and dare I say, he might even see himself as a future England manager, depending on what happens with Southgate and stuff like that. Who knows what's going to develop over the next couple of years. So it's going to be really difficult to get him in. But what it shows from the FAI as well is, you know, they kind of don't have really any backbone and stuff like that, talking about Kenny probably finishing out the campaign, but yeah, going to have a chat with Lee Carsley and stuff like that. So they've no front really and stuff like that. And I don't even know, I'm not too sure what Lee Carsley will be on. I'm sure he'll be on a really, really good contract and stuff like that with the England under-21s. I'm not sure whether the FAI could potentially afford him, because I don't see Lee Carsley coming in there on Kenny's deal of 550 grand a year, which is whatever, 50 odd grand a week, or sorry, 10 grand a week, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? I don't see that happening. I think Lee Carsley will cost a hell of a lot more. But let us know your thoughts on this. I think most people are of the opinion now that Kenny is outstayed his welcome, and that they really need to get a quality manager in there to kick it on. You know, they've linked the job as well to Chris Hughton, who's at Ghana at the moment. Obviously there's talk of Roy Keane. I think Roy Keane would be an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. Probably because I really like him as a pundit, but also I think in terms of his man management and stuff like that, I think the game has moved on greatly, and his style of management wouldn't suit at all. And the fact that he's only around those guys, you know, every couple of months and stuff like that, I don't think it would appeal to him at all. So you could rule Roy Keane out. But certainly the FAI need to get someone in. They need to get something going. Whether you should bring someone in mid-campaign when it's not going great, I'm not too sure. Or wait till the campaign kind of completes and get a manager in to get his feet under the desk with a few friendlies or something like that. Who knows? But again, I suppose probably with the Nations League and stuff like that, when do you ever actually have real bona fide friendlies these days? Let let us know your thoughts, but change definitely has to happen. Stephen Kenny has to go. Hopefully someone like Lee Carsley might come in. Let's see how that goes. Until next time, folks, make sure you're subscribing to the channel, hit the bell notification, share the content, and of course, most importantly, drop a like on the video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments on all this stuff as well. A lot going on in football at the moment, especially for an international break. This is kind of when all this stuff kind of surfaces and comes out. But we will be rolling on. Don't forget, tomorrow I'm going to be doing Pro Wrestling Weekly Update. That'll be at 8 o'clock live on the channel. Thursday we're going to be live at Thursday Tier Talk. Myself and Darren will be previewing all the Premier League action for you. Plus we'll be doing our Beat the Bookie selections, and we'll be talking about all the latest news. On Friday I'll be dropping the big preview for Wolves versus Liverpool, your lunchtime kick-off on Saturday. Liverpool with a chance to go top of the league, even if it's only for a few hours. Keep that run and momentum going that was interrupted with the international break. Fingers crossed everyone comes back strong and healthy off the international break. I know our South American players are having to play, I think it's tonight, tomorrow night, Niall, they'll return late, so whether they'll be refreshed enough to be played, Klopp will have to take a view on that on Thursday or Friday through fitness tests and stuff like that. We'll cover all that in the preview on Friday, and let's see what happens there as well. Appreciate you tuning in. Talk to you again real soon.